Welcome to the very first Q&A that I have ever done. I'm terrified. Let's get into it. If you're new here, my name is Morgan and I like to do all things spooky. We talk about spooky stories, spooky movies, legends, books, all of those things, and I am here every single day, so that sounds cool. I'd love to have you. Please check out below all of my other social media links, where to send your scary stories when we do those videos and all of that. Now, this is part one to the Q&A videos. I'm definitely going to do more because I posted asking for these at like midnight last night, and I'm filming this at like 8 a.m. So I did not give many people time to submit, but I will be saving the rest of the questions I get after I film and doing them in another one maybe next week. We'll see. But I will be answering every single question that I get, unless for weird reasons, like if it's like a weird question, I won't answer it. So let's start off with the first one, which isn't really a question, more of just like a statement. They just said more mimic stories. I hope that I never have another personal mimic story to share with you ever, because it is terrifying and I hate it. But I do have other people's mimic stories that I share, and I will continue doing that. So if you have a mimic story, send it in. The next question was, please do a step-by-step guide to locking a screen. It is on my list. I do plan on hopefully doing it next week because I want to sit down at this altar and have everything aesthetically pleasing and show you guys how to do it in an aesthetic way so that it's like cool to watch. But yeah, I do plan on doing that. Next question, would you move out of Appalachia if you had the chance? It's not out of the question. While I do consider these mountains home and love it dearly here, I am not opposed to moving somewhere else and broadening my horizons. I definitely want to move out of a smaller town eventually. My town's not small. It's definitely like blew up since we got the Hard Rock Casino here, but it is on the smaller side, and I would like to live in a city at some point. I say that, but my dream place to live is Bangor, Maine, which is like so far from a city. But I would like to explore other places. Now, whether that be moving or just traveling, who knows? But I'm not opposed to it. Is all of your family sensitive to paranormal stuff, or is it just the land that's haunted? So most of the family on my dad's side, except for my dad, who's really not that sensitive, is pretty sensitive. His dad was very sensitive to the paranormal. His sister was as well. I am. My mom is pretty sensitive to it, but not many people on her side are. So it's really sporadic, but I would say it's pretty like centered in with my family. Now the land is a thing all on its own as well. If you don't know, I grew up on a almost 100-acre farm here in Southwest Virginia, and it's very haunted. It has a lot of rich history and terrifying history to it, and I do think the land definitely does not help. But at the end of the day, I think it's just something in our blood that makes us super sensitive to these things and makes us notice these things. Next question. Living in Appalachia, did you notice more activity of mimics, fae, and other things during the pandemic? I only asked because my wife and I live in Southwest Virginia and had an uptick of activity. Yes. During the pandemic is when the stuff with the mimic absolutely blew up with me. We had a whole lot of paranormal stuff going on consistently, but really the mimic was the big one during that. That is also when we had our encounters with the fae. So yeah, I think the pandemic definitely, I don't know if it was like a corresponding thing or if it was just a coincidence, but yeah, I definitely noticed more activity. I honestly thought it was just personally me, because around the pandemic was when I started changing up my beliefs and, you know, dabbling into, you know, the crafts and things like that. So I thought it was just me, but apparently a lot of people experienced an uptick during the pandemic. So I'm curious to know if you did as well. Have you ever had a mimic encounter that just terrified you? Absolutely. The one that scared me the most, I have no idea. They've all scared me pretty bad. I think the ones that scare me the most are when my husband has seen or heard something that looks or sounds like me, and it didn't really happen to me. He would just tell me about it and it would really freak me out. I think those scared me worse than the ones where I actually saw or heard something that sounded or looked like him, if that makes sense. I don't like the thought of another me just roaming around out there. What do you think is the most likely theory behind the drones, UAPs, and orbs? Okay, so I'm not going to get super deep into this. I did a whole deep dive on Patreon, so if you want to just see me word vomit on there, please go check that out. But I personally think that it is our government looking for something. I don't know about the orbs. I genuinely don't know, unless I think they might be another kind of like UFO. But I think our government was looking for something. Because you're going to tell me, you're going to sit down and look me dead in my face as the government and be like, we have no idea what this is. You have no idea what this is, but you're letting it roam freely in the sky all over the cities. Cool. So like either you're lying or you're bad at your job, and honestly, might be both. Next question is, what is my favorite horror movie? That changes daily. Right now it's Nosferatu, the 2024 one, because I just saw that one and I'm like hyper obsessed with it. But my all-time favorite, I genuinely don't know. Like, I feel like I should say the Terrifier franchise because I'm obsessed with it. I have tattoos of it. I have like a whole Art the Clown shrine in my living room. And when it comes to gory movies, it probably is. But that's the thing. When you're talking about horror movies and my favorites, I need categories. Because for gore, Terrifier 3 is probably my favorite, followed by the other Terrifiers. And then also ones I like in gore, like In a Violent Nature, stuff like that. And then if you're getting into psychological movies, it's Jordan Peele movies probably. Really obsessed with Us. Us was such an incredible movie. Nope was okay. That seems to be everyone's favorite Jordan Peele movie. I liked Get Out and Us. I don't really like zombie movies very much. Not really my cup of tea. Kind of the same with Aliens. Aliens I'm warming up to a little bit because I really liked Alien Romulus. So I'm opening up to those and space movies, but those aren't really my thing. I've also discovered that I don't really like religious horror that much. I think religious horror was way more effective for me when I was a Christian. And now I watch it and I'm like, this is the cheesiest thing I've ever seen. Now, some of them are done well. Immaculate was immaculate. That movie was incredible. But most people were obsessed with The First Omen and I could just like take it or leave it. Like, I understand it was a good movie, but it wasn't made for me. I want more movies about Appalachian folklore. I want me some good creature features. That's what I need. Antlers tried and Antlers failed. The Ritual did good, but it's like on the other side of the, you know, ocean. But I mean, it's still kind of in the same realm. I think that's all of the questions I am going to do for now, but a few just like frequently asked questions that I get. Where can I send stories for you to read? You can send them. I'll have the email here in the description of this video. If you're on my other social medias, they're usually in the bio. Just specify in the email where you want them read. They typically get read on YouTube way faster than anywhere else. People ask where I live. I live in Southwest Virginia. I think I said that in this video. But yeah, I live in Southwest Virginia. I do live in the Appalachian Mountains. I've always lived in the Appalachian Mountains. I don't live in the middle of the woods. I did. I grew up in the middle of the woods on that farm, but there's a patch of woods behind my house. I live in a townhouse though. I live like right outside of the city. You know what I mean? City. I live in kind of a small town, but a lot of people are like betrayed when they see that I don't live in the middle of the woods. I don't anymore. I haven't in 6 years, but I used to. And there's woods behind my house where creepy stuff happens all the time. And it's so bad that I have a live stream on here of like 3 hours of me just trying to document those woods. But like I said, I will do a part 2. If there's anything I left out or anything you want to know, please just comment those questions. Or you can send them to me on any social media and I will see them and answer them. That is all for this one. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I hope I answered your questions and I will see you next time.